land of horror. Uh-oh. We got up this morning. What's going on? September 3rd. See, that's going. That looks green. It's supposed to be green. It's not green. Right. Alright, let me see. It's gonna take a minute to get this adjusted. YouTube looks like you're on point as always. Looks like Facebook is playing around. Good morning, Brother Augustine. Nope. Nope. Playing on Facebook. Playing. Nope. Still doesn't want to do it. Oh man. That sucks, Facebook. Maybe I have to think about it. Good morning, Augustine. Good morning, Deborah. You got a YouTube notification, but not Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is, looks like it's being a little snotty today. Surprise, surprise. We'll get it. Let me see. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can get Facebook back into the fray. Okay, so I don't think that went right. That didn't go right at all, but that might actually work. It's gonna be a weird morning. But you know what? I'll get it past that anyway. It still isn't on my page. Get that. What is wrong with you people? What's wrong with y'all? Daggone Global Alliance. How y'all doing this morning? Brother Kevin, good morning. I don't know if we're gonna be on Facebook today. I try. Let me see. Any other tricks up my sleeve? Let's see. So that's there. That's bad, right? That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. We'll see what happens. We keep playing with it. Maybe it'll come through. Let me see. Try that. Coming to you from the colonial ship this morning. Ooh, it's hot. Anybody hot? All right. We're gonna take a little delayed startup. Looks like I have part of Facebook up, but I don't have all of it going. So let me see. Try that. Now, how about press this? How y'all doing this morning? Good morning. Time to unplug the distraction industry and focus on root cause, staring in the mirror. We have the power to save our children and our world. Yes, we do. You know, Kevin, so many people are just, they're lost in it. They're lost in it. I don't know how we get them back, other than continue to highlight distractions. And half the time, I laugh at most of this stuff. I think it's ridiculous. All right, so that doesn't want to work right. Hold on. I might have to restart Facebook altogether. Hey, Rebecca. I don't even know how you hear, Rebecca. Facebook isn't working at all. I have no idea how you're even here. I want to talk about Venezuela. Again, because it's in the news. Nothing on Facebook. Yeah, Augustine, I don't see it. I'm waiting for it to appear so I can share it. It's not sharing. Maybe the colonizers don't want me talking about them today. I think I'm pretty nice though. I talk nice to the colonizers. No, it still ain't coming up. I don't even know what to do. I don't know what to do. Let me see. Press that and press this. I kind of want to bring Facebook in, but you know. Oh no, but Kevin, what was you talking about? Yeah, so my thing is, I think that people are so lost in it because they take it all so seriously. And that's why the distractions are effective, right? They're really effective because people, they get really emotional when it comes to all of this stuff. And as long as they can really pull you in and convince you that they actually know what's going on, or we know what's going on. Half the time, I don't even think I know what's going on. Half the time, I look at it and I'm just like, well, I think this is happening. I'm not too sure, kind of sure this is it. The next day it changed, flips, something changes. I'm not ever convinced we really know what's going on. Because I, you know what I like to do? I like to put myself in the oligarch shoes, right? If you put yourself in the oligarch shoes, then it's easier. You can kind of process strategy. And my strategy would be, I wouldn't let anybody know what's going on. I would never let anything sneak out in your news that was actually true. I'd always keep you going this way, that way, or the other way. Let me see. I'm going to make an attempt to get Facebook up. It just doesn't want to do it. They are not going for it today. They done had it today. I don't know, I guess everyone's here from, I think you're here from the page on Facebook. They're not here from my page. My page ain't posting nothing. My page ain't posting nothing. So we're gonna wait and see if that'll get going. Good morning, Rebecca. You're on the West Coast. Okay. I think it's warm out there. How Bigfoot doing? Good morning. Fancy running into you. Yeah, I know, Rebecca. I think you're running to me on my page, not my page, on the other page, not the Facebook page. No notification. Nope, not at all. Tina is not reactionary, and you should not be, Tina. Being reactionary, I think, is a failed condition of actually thinking we know what's going on to react. I don't think we ever really know what's going on. I think they play games with us in the media. Try. We're having a bit of a delayed start this morning. I'm waiting for Facebook to act right. Still not acting right. Still not posting. All right. So, I'm gonna have to go to Plan B. Plan B, because you don't want to act right. And this is taking too long. Plan B. See how this works. Boom. 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 I gotta do things the old way. I don't want to do things the old way. They're not giving me any options. Not giving me any way to go. Give me a hard road to go. Y'all playing with my feed here. All right. And ahoy from the colonizing ship. All right. No, Helen, what's not on Facebook? They're playing with how I go live for whatever reason. For whatever reason, I don't think I've been naughty. I think I've been pretty good. All right, so we're gonna go live this way. All right. Facebook should be up now. I had to do it the old way. I don't like doing it this way, but I'm not being given much choice. This is how we have to do it. But land ahoy! Good morning, everybody. Thank you for sharing, B. Joe. Finally got it sharing out on Facebook. All right, let me pull my comments up over here, then we can get going. The challenges of saving the world. Thank you for sharing, Zelda. Now that I actually got it up. I couldn't get it up this morning, Zelda. It was crazy. I know, that's why. That's why they want to take over those pharmaceutical plants in Venezuela. Thank you for sharing, Brother Robert, because they got the Viagra plants. Isn't Pfizer down there? They got the Viagra plants down there, so they want to take it over. So because the billionaires can't get it up. Thank you for sharing, Gonzag. This is a little weird this morning. I don't know how it's going to work out. This is the old way I used to share videos and do lives. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning. Land ahoy. We are pulling up to the coast of Venezuela and we're about to invade. You know, the thing that I can't seem to figure out is why people still think we're the good guys. Why are we still even talking about being the good guys? Hey, Celia, good morning. That's why I'm on a colonizer ship this morning. I'm on a colonizer ship this morning because all my wealth came from the colonies, right? I had Trix morning breakfast cereal. I had Fruity Pebbles. Got all kind of electricity and Starbucks coffee. It all was just colonizer slave minerals. Us colonizing. We never stopped. We're still going. All right, there we go. I think we're about ready to go. It's weird. I don't even know how many people are here. It's not going to act right today. Thank you for sharing, Brother Forrest. All right, let me end that and let's get into it. All over the news still today is Venezuela, and I don't know why. I still don't know why no one's sent me anything that made any sense yet. Why are we buried in Venezuela discussion, right? Thank you for sharing, Vicky. We've been doing this a long time, right? This isn't new. We've been destroying Venezuela for decades. Like, that's always been the plan. The plan's always been to take Venezuela's coal, what is it, the coltan, the oil, and the different resources down there. And thank you for sharing, Eileen. So we've always been up to that, but it's all over the news. I can't even find anything. I went over to RT America, regular RT, it's all over. There's a few other things they're talking about. It's not as bad as yesterday, but it's still all over. So if that's what we're supposed to talk about, we'll talk about it from the perspective I want to talk about it. Damn it. Don't be a colonizer. Hey, thank you for sharing, Renee. And everybody, 800,000 people got your jobs back. You're getting your money now from the federal government. Please stop working for colonizers. Please find a new job. Go work for McDonald's. Go work for Starbucks. Go work for anybody. Don't work for the killers. So everybody's coming out now. So the banks, what is it? The Bank of Britain. Thank you for sharing, Ivana. The Bank of Britain secured, they locked down, was it 1.5 billion in gold from Venezuela, and American banks, they locked down like another $500 million or something like that. So it's a continuing thing, right? You know, Maduro didn't do this to his country. He wasn't the smartest in terms of sustainability and planning when he gave the resources of the land to the creatures that live on the land, the human being things. He didn't plan it out. But the whole country was collapsed by the sanctions. They were collapsed because the banks were holding back the money, which is what they're escalating today. So now it's more and more obvious now. So the banks, the oligarchs, the neolibs, the neocons, who else? Colonizers, the New World Order, the globalists, they're all on the same side. There's only two sides. There are only two sides. You're either on that side or you're on let people have their resources. I was thinking about something the other day. I still got friends fighting over capitalism and socialism, and I was thinking about it. I said, wait a minute, aren't both of these based in concepts of giving nature to somebody? Like, instead of itself, nobody asks nature a damn thing. Like, because capitalism is based in the philosophy that man owns things. Man can own the land. Man can own the oil. Man can own the cobalt. And socialism ain't much better. It's this philosophy that you give it to the government. Government owns that. Thank you for sharing, Marla. Government owns the land. Government owns the resources. Government owns the gold. Government owns. And how's that any better? I don't think it's any better. But I think they do that. I think they always give you two sides of a failing argument, right? Because where does the money all go? The money all goes up to the top anyway. The money goes up to the oligarchy no matter what you do, whether it's in taxes, live on your land, or taxes to buy this or buy that or work there, whatever. They're still taking it all to the top. So it doesn't really matter if you got socialism, communism, or capitalism. But I'm just thinking, has anybody talked to nature? Anybody asked nature, does it want to be owned? Does the ecosystems that have always worked for billions of years want to be owned by something, a construct of man? Thank you for sharing, Terry. I think that everything we look at it from a very biased perspective. We look at it from a very bigoted perspective. And it's not just about race, not just about religion. We look at things from a bigoted human perspective, right? Because we're the first creatures in the history of civilization that think we can own ecosystems, right? Millions of different creatures live on your property and they all need to survive. You don't own them. Thank you for sharing, Crystal. So everything comes back to ownership. I think it's weird. That's why, like I said, I like the idea of these gift-based, resource-based economies where we stop fighting over ownership. Because as mad as I am At these damn colonizers about to go and destroy Venezuela, as mad as I am at the banks, the oligarchs, the neoliberals, the neoconservatives, and who else is in that group? The big corporations in Wall Street. The ones, as mad as I am at them and all the shills that are going along with them, that's a good idea to rob people and steal their land. Thank you for sharing, Penny. As mad as I am at them, they're doing it on a concept of you can own nature. And I used to believe in that. I actually used to believe in that. Part of me, for part of my life, I loved capitalism. Part of me, part of my life, I loved socialism. But those were things I was given, right? They were concepts given to me. They were things I never really thought about. Like, they weren't like free will concepts. They were concepts I was raised to believe. And the older I get, the more I want to break down the crap people are giving me, whether that be my parents, government, friends, anything around me, and think for myself. Thank you for sharing, Brother Thomas. And so just thinking about it like that. Has anyone talked to nature? Mad as I am at these damn colonizers going down and destroy Venezuela again, because the first coup failed, I still believe in owning nature. Like, well, my nation does, where I live does, it's a thing to be dominated. And we're like picking and choosing who gets to dominate. I think we have to give nature back to nature. That's what I think. Thank you for sharing, DeAndre. I think that nature has worked pretty damn well for 1 billion years. I think its resume is pretty solid, pretty locked down. It's been sustainable. It's created all these different types of animals in the ocean and the air, and it's been sustainable. Besides the fact, it's the Garden of Eden. Besides the fact that you're supposed to be stewards of it. You're not supposed to be owners of it. You're supposed to be part of an ecosystem and join with it, not dominate it. So that's what's going on. But so the banks are locking it down, and they're making it worse. Right? They're saying they're going to help the people, but really they're just starving people into revolt. That's it. They're starving people into revolt. And in Washington, nobody can even pronounce the guy's name. They can barely spell it. Who was the the last guy called him Guaido? This guy couldn't even spell his name right. I was looking at on RT today, and it's just like, is it any more obvious to you who's behind Guaido? Now I'm messed up because I'm gonna say Guaido for a while. I'm messed up. Pompeo done messed me up. If he was picked and he was selected and he was handed down, then of course the colonized, they could care less how his name is spelled. They'd have no idea how his name's spelled. They'll just go along with it. They're given orders that they got to take the land and take the cobalt and take the oil, and they just go along with it. Oh man, what y'all doing now? Colonizers, what happened to YouTube? YouTube disappeared. All right. We're not separate from the ecosystem. No, Crystal, we're not separate from the ecosystem. And when the ecosystem dies, we die. And so in both models, communism or socialism, which is a form of, I guess, communism is a form of socialism, socialism and capitalism on a planet where you have an exponentially growing creature that needs the ownership of this thing, whether it's given to government or given to the people, eventually it's going to destroy the ecosystem, AKA Earth. Right? Like this idea of ownership instead of living with nature, owning nature, there's no future in that. There's no way you're given a model that it's not even sustainable. You know, besides the fact that we need it. Thank you for sharing, Sharon. I'm gonna look at comments. There are a few things in the news we could look at. I'm trying to see what the heck just happened to YouTube. Am I even still up on YouTube? Let me try to bring that back real quick. It's getting hot. It's getting hot. So I think that this is when you're going to see censorship really get stepped up, because they have a nation to invade. So I expect them to play with these live streams. I expect them to play with censorship. And meanwhile, what happened with Brexit? They found Facebook has been looking for Brexit or collusion with Russia. Did y'all see that? Did anyone see that? Hold on. I'm going to try to bring YouTube back. So they found some evidence. They found some evidence. They found a Facebook account that's linked to somebody in Russia, and they spent all of £1, over £1, I think it was, over £1, and they reached over 200 people affecting the Brexit vote. You know, and so It's insanity to me. Let me see. Bolton is a virus. Let me see if I can bring YouTube back while I'm talking. Pompeo is a douche. Pompeo is a colonizing bastard. You know, he reminds me too much of Obama, which is now reminding me of Trump, which reminds me of Bush, which reminds me of Clinton. And you only have one side in this, and you always pick a side, and you end up side of a colonizer, someone who actually feels that they can own nature. Let me see, don't tell me we have to rake our yards and cut our grasses. Well, of course, I'm against that. I fight that in every way possible. I tell people you shouldn't have grass. You know, I plant ferns, I plant mint in my yard. I plant anything I can. I believe in fighting the state. Like whatever people destroying the ecosystems want me to do, I do the opposite. Whatever the oil companies want me to do, I try to do the opposite. I don't think nature wants to be owned. If she had a choice, she'd definitely choose a better owner than humans. I think so too, Deborah, but I don't think like there's really a choice in it. I think nature would let you be stupid. Like nature's a good parent. Nature's a good creator, whatever you want to call it. Nature is, thank you for sharing, Jane. Nature is, well, let us destroy ourselves. Nature doesn't care. Why would nature care? Nature is a balancer. Like it's just a great balancer. You know, this booms and then it makes this that eats that, like that. I always go back to the plastic eating bacteria. Nature doesn't care. I think nature's just trying to make sentient creatures, right? Creatures that can live within its balanced systems. And if it can't, it kills you. Then it moves on. All right, we can look at the news or we can talk. It's getting hot in here, so put on your yellow. I am hot, Gun. I'm pretty hot. I'm hot. It is hot. I don't know what's going on with this heater, but I was thinking about the yellow vest the other day too, Gal. I was thinking about it. Not every nation can wear yellow vests, right? Because some of the nations live in police states. You can't put on a yellow vest. But before you put on a yellow vest on the outside, don't you got to put on a yellow vest on the inside? Like, don't you have to put on a yellow vest on your compassion, a yellow vest on your intellect, a yellow vest on all this selective, divisive nonsense that we have going on inside of most of us? Put a yellow vest on your bigotry. And because like the whole movement, the way I look at it, it's a movement for, the more they talk about Rick, the more I think it's just a movement for real democracy instead of crony democracy, right? It's a movement for like direct democracy, giving citizens back control of their nations, recreating nations, because nations don't actually even exist. They're just big corporations. They're just big interests of corporations, and they've convinced millions of people that nations still exist and not just corporations dominating nations. And so I think it's more of a movement of people trying to take back control of the land, because we fight over control of ownership of the land, and we fight over with government, communism and capitalism. And who actually wins in the end? The corporations win now. They won. They own all the land, they own all the nations, they own all the rivers, the waterways. They can pollute it, they can destroy it, they can move to space if they want to, and then don the Space Force, right? So we're fighting with each other, we're fighting with government, and corporations take the whole kitty home. It's kind of how I see it. Gerard, when you're gonna put on the yellow vest? Let's get it. Let's get it. Who's that? Kevin. Kevin, I'll tell you why. You know what, Kevin, you're new. I'm gonna tell you why. When I put my yellow vest on. I live in America. Kevin, we got these two fighting factions who aren't really fighting. It's a fantasy fight. It's kind of like WWF. It's kind of like fake wrestling. But unfortunately, while they fake wrestle, the Democrats and Republicans, they've given all power to the government. The government thought, the kings and lords thought they were going to rule us, and the corporations took power from them. So my problem with a yellow vest, I wear my yellow vest on the inside. Like, I believe in the don't divide up. So when am I going to get in the street? I'm going to get in the street when that police state isn't capable of murdering the number that's going to the street, right? That's the problem, is you got the Democrats and Republicans who thought they were going to rule things, and they lost out, but they already built a police state, and the federal government's taken over that, and they thought that they were going to dominate, and corporations took over that. So I'm not going to any street unless I know, like, I believe in strategy, and I get into fights because they're a good fight, or I get in a fight to win. I don't get in a fight where I know I'm gonna be zapped by a direct energy weapon from space. I don't get in a fight to go, you know, fight half of the nation. Like, if I get in a fight, it's gonna be for the nation. It's gonna be for the land. It's gonna be for all the people. And right now, people here, they're too divided. They're too believing in their birth bigotries. And so I right now, I wear my yellow vest on the inside. Right now, to me, I think is a time to talk, a time to empathize, and a time to strategize. Like, we can't stop this colonization attempt of Venezuela if we wanted to. If most people got it, like I think most people get it now. You know, there's still a few holdouts, and they mostly you hold out because you still believe in the identity of a president over the fact that presidents actually have no say in what happens anywhere in this world. They are not the commander nor the chief. They don't have not chief, nor do they command. They ain't got nothing to chieftain. All they are is they're a divisionary thing to get you to divide up to agree with the banks, the oligarchs, the neolibs, the neocons, and ownership of nature by corporations, right? So right now is a time to talk. Right now is a time to empathize. Right now is a time to realize who is on your side and who's not. Who's on the side of the human race? Who's on the side of the earth and the ecosystems and not destroying it, picking a side while both sides destroy the planet and flirt with World War III? And I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. I kind of like the earth. I kind of like ecosystems. Like, you know, like brother Kevin and I on YouTube, I don't know if you're still there because they messing with my thing this morning big time. But I'm not even sure if Russia is opposing America. Like, half the time I look at things and I'm just like, I try to bring out my inner oligarch, right? Like, we all got an inner oligarch. We're the same brain and the oligarchs is in us. We just don't have the ships, the power, the military, the guns. We don't own a Pentagon. We don't own a military industrial complex. We don't own an America, and we don't own a Britain. So, but the same mind is in there. I try to put on my oligarch mind, you know, and if I actually ran the planet, if I were one of 12 families or whatever it is that runs the planet, I'd make sure I control the opposition, right? Like, I'd get America and Britain and the 11 or so Latin American sellout nations with somebody in a government in power that agrees with the big banks and central banking and my crap. And then I have to get somebody to run the other side, right? Control the opposition, because I can't get all my forces on one side to destroy the planet and roll up all the greed. I got to get somebody else. And I call up Russia. Hey, Russia, we need you to come out against this. And how that makes sense in my mind in terms of strategy is that, so if Russia is already in my guild and I make Russia a fake enemy, because remember this, in every war, Russia and America are always allies. They always have been. Right? They're only enemies in peacetime, and it's a Cold War. They only fight when it's proxy. So I get Russia on that side, and I'd get them to oppose America. So everybody who was really opposing my owned America would follow Russia's lead. And I would make Russia talk tough. I'd make Putin say this and that and the other. And when it came down to it, when American boys and girls who just want to defend their nation are being put on ships to go murder people for resources that they never will have access to, that will never benefit America in any way, that'll just end up in oligarchs' pockets after they destroy a nation, I'd make Russia stand down. I'd say, all right, you know, we walked up to the thing and I'd make Russia talk tough. But when it came up to a revolution or war, sending troops, I'd make Russia stand down. So, you know, I'm against this. This is wrong. But we're not going to send troops. And that would make the whole controlled opposition stand down, from China to everybody else. Everybody else would stand down because me, if I were the lead, that's how my mind works, right? Strategy. That's how I think things through, like the art of war and how to control the opposition. And that's what I would do. That's what I'm saying. There really aren't any sides in this. It's, you know, do you still want to keep going the path of colonizing the world and destroying everything? Or do we want to build a bigger world, a better world? So I can go show some clips from the news, or we can sit here and we can talk. It's up to you guys. I wasn't too excited about it. Like I said, it's just regime change. It's just colonization. It's just destroying nations, causing revolts, starving people. Oh, there is something I do want to show you though. Actually, we do got some footage. That I did want to show this one. We got some footage of a previous attempt of the colonizers. We got I do want to show you. Come so I show you this. So one time in history, can you see? I don't think you can see the whole thing. My head's smaller. There's somebody's country, and in this country they got a large screen TV. And see, these people right here, they don't live in the country. but they're gonna borrow the large screen TV out the house in the middle of broad daylight. They just went to Venezuela and they would get the oil. The problem is they didn't take a colonizing ship big enough, and they couldn't fit Venezuela's TV in, so they had to take the TV and put it back in. This is two robbers, y'all. This is two looters, two jackers. They went to somebody's house. They wanted to steal a TV, and they couldn't get the TV. They couldn't fit the TV in the car. The plasma screen was so big. And this is a good example of like the wealth disparity. Like there's so much money among these people who got so much money. They got so much money. The TV's so damn big, it can't even fit in the robber's car. You can't even buy an SUV big enough to fit the wealthy's TV. Oh, which is why they got bank accounts. Which is why they have bank accounts. Why? Because bank accounts, you can fit endless amounts of resources from other nations. Let me see, what else y'all got? Cover your own butt with yellow, with yellow britches. Yes, cover it up. Yellow stands yellow stands out regardless, just not on a vest, on everything. It does, Sandy, which makes you a target. That's what people keep saying. It's like, yeah, the yellow vest. In France, they might make the government scared. In America, oh no, that's just reflection tape, girl. That's exactly what they want. They want you to put that yellow vest on so they can see you from space. The Americans get out in the street. You don't even have to like work with the AI at all. You but that would be like 8 lines of code. You know, you just target the bright, shiny areas in every city. Turn off all the power and all the Americans just light up. You just, all the yellow vests, the reflection tape and the weapons. Yellow vest protest America over. So yeah, I don't think it's time for that in America. I think America's got to grow up a little bit. I think France is a little more mature when it comes to working together on things. France has always been fighting to revolt and protest. So I think France is a bit ahead of that than us. I'm sorry, YouTube, I can't see y'all. I do see y'all over there. I can see people are over there. I can't see what you're saying. Let me see. They will infiltrate any movement and use actors to corrupt it, nullify it, then using it for their own power while pretending it's under our control. That's how it works, Ty. That's why you can't, and this is what we talk about in terms of critical thought, right? You always have to use critical thought, and you can't trust anybody. You can't trust anybody. You can't trust an identity, and you damn sure can't trust people, and you damn sure can't trust these movements. You can't trust them because they'll see you coming a mile away. And when they see you coming, they'll do the same thing they did in Venezuela. They'll send in a team to take over the movement. They'll send in a team to topple the real intent, and they'll take it over. And once they own it, then you think that you're fighting for this cause that you signed up for, and you're really not. Money breaks people, and blind support for anything hands it right over to the powers that be. When I lived in USSR occupied country, I looked up the USA. Now I live in the US and I trust Russia more. Yeah, Ivana, I think that probably has a lot to do with where we are, right? In terms of, we're probably most fearful of the closest killer. Right? And the closest killer to us right now is the Pentagon. Unfortunately, the closest killer to some people is the police station. The closest killer are, unfortunately, our brothers and sisters who haven't seemed to realize that they work for killers. And so in Russia, damn sure you would fear Putin. I got a friend who came from Russia, and the family was like, we had to get out of there. Like he is not a nice guy. He's a thug. He is a murdery bastard. He's a gangster. He's not a good guy. But he seems to be in opposition to the low levels in America. It gets confusing when I start to think about it, but I think you have multiple layers of corruption going all the way up, and the mid tiers are fighting each other. So I think in some ways Putin is allowed to fight Donald Trump or Barack Obama for certain resources, certain countries that the oligarchs don't want, the ones who control everything. So they do oppose each other in some things, which is why I like RT News, because it gives me a little bit of insight into what's not being said in American news. But the reality is they all work for the same oligarchs, right? When the big dog shows up, Putin rolls over just like Trump does. You know, and I think that's just how the world works, because it's how things work on our local level, right? It's how a local gang works. It's how the mafia works. So most likely it's just how America works at the higher levels. America doesn't vest. They shoot guns at masses. Don't mix. America don't vest. They shoot guns and masses don't mix. Yeah, they do. We are certainly a what do they like to call us for? A gun-loving nation. And I don't know that that's true. I think that we are more a nation that has a long history of violence. We have a long history of a murderous government. We have a long history of being fearful, you know, and so people don't pick up guns because they love guns. I think that's kind of the fake news that they say to get people to turn against the other people who got the guns. People pick up guns because they have a murderous government, right? That's why people always pick up guns and swords and knives since the beginning of time. And Americans, yeah, like anywhere else, I mean, if you got a gun, you'll shoot it. If you don't, you won't. You got them all over America, so they shoot them. Venezuela, they're not. They're doing mostly peaceful protests. But if America keeps starving them, the banks keep starving them, the oligarchs keep starving them, they don't release the billions of dollars, yeah, we'll get to a place where they'll pick up knives, machetes, or whatever they need to. My neighbors here are suffering. That's why I fill my truck with food and drive it over to the mountains. No vest required. Tina, we got to take care of each other. We got to take care of, because neighbors who are suffering will rob you. They're supposed to. Starving people want to eat. You know, that's just survival. Everybody should have a place to go. That actually is really smart. Like taking poison and hoping they will perish. Wrong. Yes, and you throwing some Buddha. Is that didn't Buddha say that? Buddha said that? Somebody said that. Saj Guru. You know, hating, judging, what does they say? Judging your enemy is like taking poison and hoping they'll perish. The unpredictability is the most concerning thing for me. It is, Nora. Well, you know what? It's you know, we were talking about, somebody posted the other day, Nora. You said that we were talking about how do you fight the puppet masters, and the point was you don't actually ever have to see the puppet masters. All you got to see is the strings, and that'll tell you where you got to fight, right? And yeah, we'll never really know what's going on because we're way too low on the totem pole. But what we can see is we can see the strings, right? When you have all of the bad guys come out for Guaido, then it tells us that we shouldn't be for Guaido, right? So I think things are unpredictable and there's a lot that's concerning, but then there's a lot that's really hard to hide, you know, but people have to be open enough to see it. And right now people aren't that open. Communism is the government of the New World Order. Mary, I think the New World Order uses all types of governments, right? The New World Order, it runs all of them. It runs the capitalist government, it runs communism, it'll run socialism. You know what, Mary? I think the government of the New World Order is whatever people will accept blindly. Whatever we fight for, whatever we'll accept blindly, then that's what they'll use against us. And that's how enemies always work. Well, that's how the real intelligent enemies always work. And we're not dealing with dummies, we're dealing with very smart killers. Many villains tell the truth because we won't believe from them anyway. Yeah, they do, Ty. Well, they're already tribal. They're already on their sides. They got their love and their hate, and they're gonna believe their side, no matter what. Even though their side is killing the very ecosystem we need to live on. Yep, the elites has it all, everyone else crumbs. Yes, Mary, it is, and I'm glad you see that. Please tell somebody else. They pick up guns out of fear. Yes, they do, Tina, that people pick up guns out of fear, and they also pick up guns to eat. And that's what they're supposed to do. When you raise kids to survive, they're supposed to. Like, I'll always get back to it. Why do kids join the skinheads and the white nationalists? Because they're supposed to. Why do kids join the triads and why do they join the Bloods and the Crips? Because they're supposed to. We show them a hateful, violent world. They like to eat biscuits. They like Snap Pops and Snap Rocks, and they like, you know, they want to have a house and a car, and we show it on TV. We post it all over Facebook how good we're living. They know they have no chance to do it through the education system, and so they resort to survival, which is picking up a gun. I never blame kids for anything. I think kids are a great mirror-like reflection of our failures as adults, as a society, not as parents, as an entire society. So I think it's people pick up guns for a lot of different reasons, but kids pick them up because we okay a world to pick them up. And we force them to pick it up if they want to become anything great. Emotional trigger, happy. Yes, and have no emotional triggers. I always trigger the laughter because I don't really know what's going on. Like Nora was saying up top, I don't ever really know what's going on. I never really know if it were true, they wouldn't let it on the news. And that's the only source that we have. You know, we have historical reference and we have a lack of distrust of government. And until we get that strong lack of distrust for government again, we're going to be in a bad fix. Somehow they convinced a lot of people to trust our government, and they cheer it and they trust it. And so that's why we're here. All we got is each other, and not try to fix your problems in somebody else's mirror. Consider the yellow vest a sign that I have picked the human side. And if they see me coming, hopefully there will be a bunch behind me. But until that bunch start to gather, I'll be gardening and planting it. Exactly. See, you and I think alike. So it's logistics, right? Everything is logistics. You will never have a sustained stand down in America unless people got food. If people don't have food, it's just not going to happen because people got to eat. And government controls all the food. They control the infrastructure. They control all the resources, or those who control the government control all of that. So you're not going to have any kind of a sustained shutdown in America unless people got food. So that's what I do. I kind of garden and I just wait. Plant more fruit trees and I wait. I was propagating yesterday and I wait. And we'll look around, see what's going on, and I wait. And I try to talk to people and I try to get them to take down some of the bigotries that we were given. And when it's time to go, you got the logistics in place. People know how to grow food. They can take care of each other. They can just walk away. They don't have to pick up guns because they got food. They got a house and they can eat. It's always about logistics. Logistics is how you break every rise up of the population. The kings always starve the population. Do the opposite of what seems okay. Exactly. You know what, Christina, you could probably do that. You nail it every time. Do the opposite of what's popular. You're probably in the right spot. Just like putting food around your garden so critters don't steal your veggies. Make sure your neighbors have food. It's not altruistic. Yeah, Rebecca, it's not even altruistic. It's national security, right? It's neighborhood security. If your neighbors have food, you got a secure neighborhood. Your neighborhood's starving, you got a problem. And that's why they're starving Venezuela. They starve Venezuela. They destroy the country. They make them hungry. People go out in the street and we'll go down and attack them. So it's like national security isn't destroying nations. National security is feeding nations. It's like neighborhood security. Neighborhood security is feeding your neighbors. You want to be secure, you want your kids to be safe, make sure your neighbors are good, they'll watch your back, and they won't rob you. Blind faith will lead you astray. It absolutely will, Tina, as it should. Don't trust anything blind. You trust things blind as a child. As you become an adult, you don't trust anything. You trust your own intellect. But then you also have to have a degree of humility too, because we never really know what's going on. Best advice is to prepare for change. Yes, Nora, people are scared of change. Change always comes, and change is good if we can diagnose what got us to a spot where we needed to change, right? Like we destroyed this planet. We destroyed this planet with our government. And that's why it's important to talk about the models of governing. And if we want to continue this idea of governing, right? Things are collapsing. When they collapse, what are we going to put in place of it? I suspect on the other side of whatever this is, you may not have internet. You may not have the ability to come on here and have this dialogue. And that's why it's important to have the dialogue ahead of time. If we're rebuilding things from like small local communities after this nonsense finishes, then everybody's got to have ideas of what went wrong. And what went wrong isn't the Republicans messed up. And what went wrong isn't the Democrats messed up. And what went wrong isn't any of that. What went wrong is us. We blindly trust government, and power always oppresses. And the next system we build, it can't be based on any of our current failures. We fail with money. We fail with monetary systems. Whatever we build next can't be based in money and monetary systems. I mean, to me, I think if we're human beings, then what we build next, it has to be based in human beings. It has to be based in cultivating human brains. Like I believe in children. I believe that as parents, you know, well, not even as parents, as a community, an earth community, we should be cultivating the brains of children. The stronger they are, the smarter they are, the better they do, the sooner we can retire, or the easier life will get for all of us. So our greatest investment is our children's brains. So I think we need an economy that thrives and is rewarded not on money and greed and GDPs, but some sort of a human brain GDP, right? When we're making and cultivating better and smarter and more equipped children, the least amount of children you have being starved, the least amount of children committing suicide, the least amount of children having to pick up guns and join gangs and become skinheads and Crips and Bloods, that, you know, the least amount of kids you got in prison, like that determines who societies are heading in the right direction. And I think that's what we should focus on. Look at the societies today who have that and mimic that. Look at those who don't and avoid them. Look at societies where 22 people, soldiers a day, commit suicide. Look at societies where they have to take their children and put them in mass incarceration in cages. And whatever they do, don't ever do that again. And don't mimic anything that they do. That's why I say if America shows up on your coastline, some ships they want to colonize and help you, send them away. They don't know what they're doing, because Americans don't run their own country. Oligarchs do. Lack of connection is development years. Why they join these gangs? Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of reasons, Tina, right? So there are a lot of reasons, but you know, we can call it lack of development, or we can call it developing the way that the kings want them to, right? They legislate scarcity. We've got artificial scarcity in all around the world. They make things artificially scarce through legislation to get people to fight. They manufacture violent children because violent children are a commodity on Wall Street. Gerard, you have a great approach to fighting, a modern day ninja. Thank you for your peace and survival force. It's not mine. I am not that smart. We look back at what the successful fighters do. And the successful fighters in history didn't fight. You know, in fact, Rebecca and I, we get into it a lot with other people in terms of, you know, what you want to do is stand down, right? Every violent revolution has ended up in the oppressors or the oppressed becoming the oppressors. And those governments eventually fell in the future. Those governments in the future became violent, because when you make decisions based on violence, all you're going to ever get back is more violence. It's all it's going to ever profit in the future. We need to stand down. We need to we need to first stand down, probably in the history of the human race, is we just need to back down and walk away from the system and let it collapse. Treasure each other. Stop fighting each other over things that happened 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago. And start working together with people to build a better tomorrow. Like, you know, it's all about what your priorities are. Are your priorities hate from the past, or your priorities love for the future, right? You prioritize getting revenge for what someone told you somebody did to your people or your nation or whatever, or is your priority taking care of the next generation? You had these kids, are they your priority? Your grandkids, are they your priority? Or is your priority your ego? And I think that's where we got to evolve past that. We got to get back to evolving. If you can't hide it, spin it so people are gaslit. Yes, and that's what they do, and they do a great job of it. Everybody should be ignoring the mass media. I agree with everything you're saying, Gerard. Well, thank you, Rochelle. I'm not sure I do. I don't know. What's today? I don't know. For right now, I do, Rochelle. It might change. I don't know. Brother Forrest might post something. Deborah might post something. Mary might post something. You know, I think we got to be fluid. I think we got to be dynamic. I think we have to kung fu. I think we have to be ninja-esque, as Forrest was talking about. We have to be thinkers again. We have to be philosophers again. We have to stop being reactionary. I'm actively working on emotional triggers. Gotta focus. Well, you know what, Tina? I think finding peace helps you focus. Oh, I am going to show something. Speaking of focus, something that blessed me. One of the things I keep referring back to is watching the kids in destroyed countries we colonize and destroy, like they're about to do to Venezuela. How you've got kids who are like playing soccer and football in these games. They find games to play in like around rubble and destroyed areas that we bomb. You got to find peace in it. I found a video this morning. I thought it kind of blessed me a little bit. I'm going to share it with y'all this morning. This kind of blessed me. This is in the West Bank. These are kids who picked up this thing called Parkour.
In the southern Gaza Strip.
I heard of Parkour?
They are parkour enthusiasts, a discipline developed from French military obstacle course training. It involves seeing your environment and negotiating its obstacles in a freer, often dangerously acrobatic way. The boys don't deny the irony of practicing among the graves. Many of the people buried here were killed in wars with Israel.
طبعاً شعور مختلف عن أي شخص.
This gives me a different feeling from other sports. Parkour takes us away from Israel's siege, the suffering we experience. When we practice, we feel emotionally and mentally away from the refugee camp. Here we are free.
The group calls itself Parkour Gaza. Many of the walls and buildings they use to practice on are scarred by bullets and partially destroyed.
So I love this as an example, right? Like you have to find a way to be sustainable in this nonsense. You have to find a way to focus. And I love parkour. I said it wrong. It's where basically they run and they jump. It's been in the movies a couple times where, you know, you've got a tumultuous environment and then you got to make split-second decisions. You're running and you're jumping on this, you're jumping a wall, you jump through the wall, you flip over the wall, you jump to the side of it, and then balance. Right. And this is how I kind of see it with the news and lies and what happens in our world. Because they're always throwing these punches at us, right? The left, right. They're always hitting these lies. That's funny, I said left, right. They're always lying, throwing punches, right? The world is crazy. But you have to be able to learn to navigate it and make good decisions and keep your balance. Am I going to go through this wall? Am I going to jump over it? Am I going to flip to the left, flip to the right? Are my feet in the right position where I land correctly or where I fall? And I think that's what this is. And I think that from a Kung Fu ninja perspective, you know, we have to navigate our world this way. We have to navigate this world and keep our balance. Things are always coming at us. Remain calm, remain, you know, have like a sustainable approach to fighting the system. Not the players, the system. So I like that. I thought that was a great example, parkour. You know, but everybody has to develop their parkour. My parkour is, I don't know, where's my parkour? It's probably growing stuff. I'm a little weird. I got a lot of plants. Plant Protective Services might come find me. But I grow plants and to me, I laugh. Tina, that's one of my things. I think it's funny because I get to this spot where I think I know what I'm talking about. And then I really start questioning it like, do I really know what I'm talking about? It's really based on what I saw on the news that came through and the other side, somebody else agreed and the Republicans agree with it, or the Democrats agree with it. But I'm like, nah, probably ain't true. And I just laugh and just like, we don't really know what's going on. So so for me, it's just focus on the future. Like, I think that we can build an awesome world. We've got the automation, we've got the robots, we have the know-how. It's just all the automation and the robots are being used for the colonizers. They're being used for the oligarchs. They're being handed over by the neocons and neoliberals because they're getting a little higher spot on the plantation and people just have to step away from it. You know, so I have a lot of, my parkour is probably a lot of things around laughter, having fun, just laughing at the ridiculousness of the human race and destroying its planet. It might be sci-fi and some aliens. It might be growing. But mostly I think it's just this belief that we're actually in a spot we only get to probably every couple hundred years, maybe a couple thousand years, where we actually can change the model of the world. And I think that's huge. Like, to me, it's an amazing thing. If you really think about it, we're possibly being given a chance that we can change all of this. We can undo the worst mistakes that have been made. And we are the generation that get a chance to do that. That's huge. That should make you feel amazing on the inside. You know, because people, they'll try to pull me in and they want me to go back to fighting racism and fighting this and fighting that. And I'm just like, you know, but if you look at the problems in your community, you know, fight for my state and fight for my town and go back to fighting for my religion. And I'm just like, if you really think about all the problems, they all stem from the same root causes. And if you focus on a root cause, artificial scarcity, it resolves everybody's problems, everybody's. So why just focus on fixing the Christians' problems? We can fix the Muslims' problems too. Why just focus on the problems with the poor blacks when we can fix the problems with the poor whites too? Why fix the problem with the poor Hispanics when we can fix the problems with poverty in the Philippines too? I mean, we can fix all the problems. We have the power. We just don't have the love. We don't have an ability to fight indifference. We're just too emotional. We believe in the WWF fight, you know? And so so for me, that's what makes this sustainable, is we might actually get a chance. This system is collapsing. They're not hiding it anymore. They're not even hiding anything. They're desperate. We can fix everything if we can learn to get along. That's the key. If we can actually believe in the things Martin Luther King preached more than the philosophies of those who murdered him. Right? That's why they murdered him, to colonize. The Black Civil Rights Movement, Hoover and Johnson, and the oligarchs and colonizers and Vietnam War. That was just another colonial effort. Martin Luther King stood against that, and they murdered him for it. So you have to ask yourself the question, do you really believe the things of this guy you keep posting about? It's about policy, fixed policy. Yes, nor, I like to say it another way, system, right? Because on top of a system, they write policies, right? So they can change the foreign policy, but they can keep going. So policy said another way, I just like to say it's system because it's actually the underlying system that makes it okay to murder people, right? The underlying system that makes it okay to send armed men to go hand citations to citizens who are supposed to work for the citizens, right? It's that underlying system. So we can change policing policy, but it doesn't fix anything, right? It's the underlying system that makes it okay. Like where the police that were just shot, was it Texas? Did y'all see that? I only saw a part of it. There were 5 police officers shot in Texas. And of course, folks are gonna rally behind the police and everybody else will rally behind the other side. I guess there was one guy was killed and another 1 or 2 guys shot 5 police in Texas. And I really don't know what happened. I don't know the details, but what I know is nobody's gonna ask the critical question. Why were the police there? Why did you send armed men who work for the citizens who live in that house to that house? And the first thing people say, oh, because, you know, they were going to get some drugs. Well, the war on drugs is unconstitutional. It's against the Bill of Rights. It's illegal. It's immoral and unethical. People have been using natural medicine for 5,000 years to treat whatever problems they have, whether it be psychological pain or they're just born in a scarce nation, they got to use drugs. The goal is to help those people, not to murder those people. So if you sent men, if they were drug dealers, you shouldn't have sent the police there. That's stupid. The system, right? If they were going there because, oh, they had some guns and whatever, well, they can have guns. It's called the Second Amendment. They can have any damn gun they want to. As long as your nation has tanks and weapons they give for free all over the world, so they'll join up against Venezuela to the 11 other sellout nations in Latin America. As long as the Pentagon is the #1 funneler of black market weapons, then the people should be armed. Like I said, I want my neighbor to have a tank. I trust my neighbor more than I trust the government. You will never get me trusting a government. Because all the ancients who came before me, all my ancestors told me to never trust the kings and the lords, ever. You will never get me in a stadium clapping and dancing and singing how y'all do for these Bernie Sanders, these Trumps, these Obamas, and these Clintons. Never. You will never get me there. I trust my ancestors over your philosophies. I trust my ancestors over this modernism. I trust my ancestors, and I don't think any of these people are Michael Jackson, Morris Day, and anybody else to be clapping and singing in fame form and writing signs. You gonna write a sign? If I'm gonna write a sign, vote for this person. If I'm gonna take my time to buy a sign, it's gonna be my son's name. How about that? It's gonna be somebody's name I know. It's gonna be somebody's name I love. It's not gonna be some strange bastard that I don't even know. Like, I don't believe in the system, and so I don't do stuff like that. Is YouTube out too? I think it is. No, it looks like there's some people watching on YouTube. I don't know if it's working or not, but but this is where we're going. They're gonna step up the censoring. They got to step it up. They got another nation they want to invade. They want to take the 22 soldiers committing suicide up to 30, right? Why? Because they don't give a damn about the soldier. Pentagon couldn't give 2 dams about any one of those soldiers, and the soldiers would tell you that if you actually ask them. That's what I'm saying. Nobody should be cheering this. Nobody should be on this. This is a chance. If you're still a Trump supporter, I don't even know what that is, but this is your chance to step it up. If you were an Obama supporter, I don't know what that, a Clinton supporter, whatever the hell that is, this is your chance to step up and show that you have integrity. This is your chance to step up and show that you're against globalism. You're against the New World Order. You're against colonization. You were against the crap when Obama did it. Be against it now, damn it. Be against it when Clinton was going to do it. Right? This is your chance to show that you actually have integrity and you're not a sellout. You're not willing to sell the world out, sell any people out for identities. This is a great chance because this is obvious that all of this, it's all about the banks. It's all about greed and it's all about killing people for money. A neighbor with a tank, love it. Many veterans have turned their guns in for altruistic purposes. Big mistake. Nor I agree. I agree. Now's not the time. Now is not the time. Nope, not the time. If your problem is black market weapons on the street and criminals using them, your problem is with the Pentagon. Your problem is not with the Hicks in some little community somewhere. Your problem is not with the guy down the street in the hood that has a gun, an assault rifle. Your problem is with your Pentagon. That's what you need to focus on, because they're the ones who funnel the weapons. The majority of the weapons all around the world all come from your Pentagon. So if you're scared of weapons and you're tired of people shooting each other and you think it's the weapon, not the person, because you know it's the person, it's not the weapon. But outside of that, it's the starvation at the root cause. Then your fight isn't with politicians that support the Pentagon. You know, but people don't like to talk. Say, yeah, I want my neighbor to have tanks. Why? Because I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment till your government puts down their military. When they put down their military, then I won't say I want my neighbor to have a tank. That's when I'll change my mind. But as long as your government's lining up to go murder a couple 100,000, 1 million people in Venezuela, you can go to hell with that. You can take it. I love you to death, but you can go to hell with that. I'm not here to play with you. I'm here to support poor people, to build a new world and take violence out of the system. And you're never going to take violence out of the system taking power from poor people who have assault rifles. You take power from your government. They're the reason the poor people have the assault rifles. All right, what are we talking about? I was going to show the news, but I guess we're not going to do news today. As long as y'all talkative, this is good. I had to go to your page to get live notification. Yeah, John. Well, you know how that's just where we are. That is exactly where we are. Global Alliance runs this, and the Global Alliance are going to control what's being said. And half the time, I don't even think they're like really even involved in it. I think it's just code and software. It's like, this is a popular person. We want this person to be popular. Here are the people fees that you just need to mess with, and AI will go and change the bandwidth, and throw a little piece of error in the code here and there, and mess that up, and that's just where we are. Like I said, this isn't gonna last for always. We're not gonna be here years down the road sitting there talking this junk. That is not how oligarchs work. That is not, when they get better with their AI, all you'll see is bunnies and kitties and pro-war on Facebook. Oh, look, YouTube's back. Hey, Linda, what's going on? Age of Credilla, Adrian. They knew it would create violence. Yes, Sandy, because they make their money on violence, right? Like, that's how they make their money. It boggles my mind that people are upset at people who shoot up schools and are okay with CIAs that destroy nations, right? Like a school shooter goes in and shoots a couple kids, but a CIA goes in and they get 20,000 people murdered in a country, and most of which are always kids, women, and old people, because they're the #1 victim in these wars. But they cheer the Pentagon, they cheer the CIA, they cheer the politicians that don't restrain the CIA, but they get mad at the school shooter, and it boggles my mind, Plant medicine is needed to heal the minds of people. Yes, Rochelle, because we've eaten plant medicine the whole time we've been on this planet evolving. It was in the Garden of Eden. That's what we should be eating. That's what we should be eating right now. And if you don't eat natural foods, if you don't eat natural medicine, you don't eat a lot of raw food, deep leafy greens, you will have a condition in your body called a lack of ease or dis-ease. No, you cannot live on chicken nuggets. You can't live on McDonald's. You can't live on reheated food. You can't live on Hungry Man. You can't live out of, you know what, a good thing Michael Pollan said I love. He said, you know what? He said, never feed your body where you fuel your car. Never feed your body where you fuel your car. We got people eating out of gas stations now and vending machines. You eat that crap, you're gonna die. But not only that, you eat that crap, you're gonna sell me out. That's why I want you to eat it. If you eat that crap, you're gonna need statin drugs and all the other crap that the pharmaceutical companies make just to breathe and live and get out of bed in the morning. And if you need that, then you can't be okay with a modification of government and tolerate any kind of collapse. You gotta get strong and healthy. My neighbor's a firefighter. I'm not sure, but he might be the government. Oh, the government's everywhere. Deborah, we are the government. That's the silly part. We actually are the government. So you can fight the government all you want. We're just fighting us. We are the government. I'll never cheer violence. Yeah, Tina, and we can end violence. Violence only exists right now because we want it to stay. And we can change that. Can't believe they're gonna censor natural health care alternatives. The oligarchs are getting desperate. Yeah, they are, Rochelle, but it's good though. I'm glad they are, because it's obvious. Like, did you see that list, Rochelle? There's a list going around there about 200 natural medicine, health pages, and organic companies that got their pages taken down. Like, it's good. It's obvious now. When it's not so obvious, then you got dummies who don't get it. But when it's so obvious in your face that this isn't about national security, this isn't about safety and school shootings and fake news, it's about money. That's it. It's just about money. It's about oligarchs controlling money, and whether it be through the pharmaceutical industry or the auto industry or the war industry or the prison industry or the police industry, the police state, whatever it is, they just want to make money. And they're going to do whatever they got to make money. And that's the good thing about today. They're so desperate and so obvious that our biggest issue is money. That's it. Money's going away. Did I say that this month? I don't think I said it. I have to make sure I say it every month. Money's going away. Money's going away. Money's going away. There's no use in you working trying to fill your bank account for your retirement. Money's going away. The only purpose for money is human labor. Human labor is going away. I'm sorry, that's just how robots and automation worked. I worked on it most of my life. It's all going away. They already got robots that can do your job right now. It's just they're using them to drive tanks and shoot you as opposed to take your job. That's why they taught it how to drive the tank to shoot you before it gave you a job. So now when it takes your job, you can't say anything because they got 5G and automatic tanks that will shoot you, right? So money's going away. Its only purpose was human labor. Its only purpose was to get you to stop farming, move to a city, so you have to work for them and you'll work to get this money. So you don't have to grow food, so you buy your food. Robots don't need money. They don't spend money and they don't ask for salaries. They don't get sick. They don't have maternity leave. We need a new system that's not based in money. That's what I'm saying. Capitalism, communism, and all these systems, they don't work in the future. They are legacy, defunct, bankrupt, completely illegitimate systems in the robot economy and the automation economy. And that's what we're coming into. This is why I stopped working where I did. This is why I left. That's why I gave up my whole career, because I understand that they're not leaving a space for human beings. And if there's no space for human beings, what happens to us? Right. What happens to us? Your government has a contingency plan. No, the contingency, no, your government has a continuity. What they call continuity plans. Your government has a continuity plan. And do me a favor, okay, on your 2020, I want you to text your 2020, because I know you got their phone number, the cell phone number, as much as you post on your 2020 on your feed. I want you to text them and ask them, what is the continuity plan for my children? Ask them and see what they say. In a collapse, what have you planned to take care of my children with? When corporations are using most 90% of labor with robots and automation, what's the continuity plan for my children? Just go ahead and text them, see what they reply back with, and let me know. You might get me voting for your 2020. You might get me posting for your 2020 if they got an answer for that. And they want us to believe in neoliberal austerity, such a scam. Yes, Linda, because they scare people with neocon on the other side. They run a neocon and they got the neoliberals, and you don't realize they're all the same damn people. It's all about corporate rules, just like communism and capitalism. It's all the same. It's all the same cronyism, right? They scare people with something, and because people are somehow capable of fear as an adult, they'll run to the other side. And the corporations and oligarchs just laugh all the way to the bank. No reason for it. Government creates the dollar by spending. Exactly, and there's no reason for money anymore. They have robots that can feed everybody that's watching this. They got robots that can feed everybody in Venezuela. They got robotics in farming and learning software and automation that can build everybody a house. They are literally bullshizzling you, and you believe the bullshizzle. And I don't think y'all should believe the bullshizzle no more. Don't make me put a picture of some bull crap on the screen. Don't make me do it. I do it. I'd put that Rumba picture back up here. All right, no, that was the Rumba. That was an old Rumba joke. Yeah, if you got Rumba and you got a dog, turn your Rumba off at night. We're not gonna go back down there. That's a disgusting video. Build your knowledge, not your bank account. Learn how to make things and to grow things. Exactly, Tina. Thank you. And this is what I say. If somebody asked me the question, Tina said, "Well, what am I supposed to do if I'm supposed to save for my retirement?" What you do, because if you look at the Great Depression, they're gonna take your money. They're gonna take your money. They're going to take your retirement. Focus. It's not going to your children. They're going to take it. And if money exists in the near future, when all of this collapse, a loaf of bread is going to be $500 million, right? The only people who are going to be buying are billionaires, not you and your little paycheck. What you do is you take your money that has no value. It's a complete fantasy thing that the oligarchs gave us and the colonizers, and you put it in something that has value. Right now, it has no value. Some people believe in gold. Some people believe in minerals and silver. And I'm good with all of that because you need all of that for circuit boards and robots and automation in the future. So yes, that has value. Other people, I believe in solar panels. I believe in wind turbines. I believe in sustainable green energy. What you do is you go get yourself a good account on a website that sells solar panels, and you take that retirement and you buy something that will have value no matter what happens in this world. That's what you do. You know why? Because you're an adult and you're a parent. You're supposed to prepare for the future. You're supposed to take care of your children. You're supposed to take care of your community. No, your gaslit neighbors don't get it. I know, because they drink the fluoride, they take long chlorine showers, and their brain ain't functioning. They listen to Fox News and CNN, and they think all of this crap is gonna last. It's your job to protect your children and take care of them too. You got 30, 40 solar panels in your basement instead of money in your retirement account. Guess what? If all of this is wrong and the oligarchs have got a way to save it, you can take them solar panels and sell them, and you still got your money. But if things collapse, guess what? You're still charging your cell phone. You're still charging your electric car. Your neighbors are coming over and they're partying with you at nighttime because you still got lights and they still like you, so they're not gonna rob you. You know, just very simple things. You know, thank you. Who's that? Christine, hemp. People should be growing hemp. Oh, I'm working on some hemp. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but you gotta get involved in sustainable agriculture in any way you can. You can invest in it. If you don't want to put stuff in a warehouse, you can start up community gardening. If you live in a city, you can join a CSA. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. Do any of it. Prepare like you see what's happening. Prepare like you can process what's coming. No, you won't have this job. Like people that talk about kids going to college. I'm like, I'm not against your kids going to college. I'm just saying prepare your kids for the future. And if you think the future is your kid's going to be a dentist and right now you got robots doing surgery, then okay. Prepare for the future. That's your job. You have a frontal lobe as an adult. You have the ability for decision-making beyond your children under the age of 26. You're supposed to look at the future, look at the world, and prepare for them, and build a world that they'll survive, and give them the skill sets they need in the world that you see coming, not the world TV tells you is coming. That's my point. We're emotional beings. They know we react to emotions. Yes, they do, Linda. And those of us who don't should be thankful that we don't. And those who still do, we got to look out for the ones who still do. We're all family. That's how we make it. We all gotta let go of all the labels and all just look out for each other. Or America, you're gonna see what happens with those guns when people are hungry. What they're doing in Venezuela right now will happen in America, and people will eat. They will always eat. In the isms, yes, Rochelle, we got to end the isms. We got to let it all go. It's time to build a better world. It's time to have more priority in love than in hate. More priority in unity than division. Don't tell other people what they got to believe to be united with you. They're united with you because you're not an oligarch. You're not a billionaire, so they're your natural allies. So don't be stupid. I could use a robot maid. Well, you know, Deborah, they got the robot maids, and they're even taking the maids' jobs. Thank you. You're dead right on. Money was only for labor. I love when words clarify a known experience and sense. Yes, Amy, and that's just the future that's coming. We need to prepare for it. Your plan is to give us a guaranteed minimum $0. That's exactly what their plan is, Gail. There's no plan for us. It's like, what's the human plan? There's no human plan. We're not working on that at this moment. Hey, no? And we're fighting for single payer. You ain't had nothing to pay with. The robots, they want to repair themselves. They have no interest in repairing your body with healthcare. Profiting in the middle. Yeah, well, they're all profiting, and it's a pyramid, right? It's a pyramid Ponzi scheme. Everybody's trying to get to the top of the pyramid, and nobody's allowed up. Invest in hemp. Yes, Christine, great idea. All the ideas, absolutely. What's valuable in prison? That's what they'll hold value for a while when the system collapses. Yeah, oh, that's a good point, Rebecca. I never thought about that, because we are in a prison. We just don't like to say we're in a prison. They value commissary, right? What's valuable in prison is what's scarce. Whatever's scarce has the highest value. And unfortunately, right now in America, what's scarce is food because people don't grow any damn thing. Take over the schools and the courtrooms. Yep, we can take them all over after this nonsense collapses. Or the criminals will. Yeah, well, Jack, I think they already got another plan. I think they already have a plan. They're lined up. My 24-year-old niece is studying business and organic gardening in community college. Yes, thank you. And it's good to focus on agriculture, and organic growing is not agribusiness. They're not the same thing. Anytime you put business on it, you break it. Anytime you put greed in it, and then it becomes about putting chemicals on things and growing pseudo plant-ish things that kind of make sort of food-ish things that give people cancer. So absolutely, whatever you do, it's got to be organic, heirloom, make it sustainable, save your seeds every generation. The next generation grows better in your soils and in your climate. Fuel, Galen got the list for us. Fuel, booze, ammo, guns, tobacco, coffee. Oh, you got it on the coffee. That's what else I'm going through. That's what I'm gonna hold up in the apocalypse. Y'all got the coffee. When the zombies start walking, you got coffee. That's why I got a couple coffee trees. I have 2 of them now. One of them 6 years old. I grow coffee trees in a pot. Yes, you can grow coffee trees in a pot. Let me see. Some of the hot collapsed commodities and alcohol too. That's another one, Galen. Alcohol. Somebody needs to start up a what are they making the sexy alcohol out of? They're using hibiscus. I planted some hibiscus last year. You can make coffee out of hibiscus. You can make them out of rosette flowers. I planted some of that. You can also make alcohol out of what is that fruit? Pomegranate. Pomegranate. Right. I got a few pomegranate trees. You can make wine out of pomegranate. You know, it's time to start planting things and get ready for what's coming. The signs are all on the wall. Invest in hydroponics is the only way going to be able to feed yourself. Well, John, I like hydroponics, but I love aquaponics. That's what I talk about mostly, is aquaponics. Hydroponics, you got to buy more mineral solutions and nutrient solutions to keep it going. It's a little less sustainable, a little less organic. You want to do aquaponics where you just use the water from the fish to actually fertilize the plant. So that way it's a complete sustainable system. There's no input you got to put other than feed the fish. And you can feed the fish basil, you can feed them spearmint, you can feed them anything. You can use algae eaters. And so there's no inputs. It's like it's a natural, completely organic recirculating system. So I like aquaponics. That's how I grow most of my vegetables, is aquaponics. Make alcohol with dandelions. Yes, you can absolutely do that. Heirloom seeds, absolutely. I can make booze out of just anything with sugar content. Right, and that's what they do in prison too. They make the apple, they make the jug wine, and they make, they'll take the fruits and they'll make alcohol out of anything. But this is the world we're going to. It sounds scary to some people. I know if this is new to you, it sounds scary. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. This is how the world works, right? Civilizations always collapse, and it only hurts if we're not prepared, which is why all of our ancestors told you to do the exact opposite of your political parties are telling you. They always told you to have a pantry. They always told you to plan for bad times. Bad times always come. Your sustainability is your resume, right? Your ability to survive is all based on what you know, not what your government's prepared to do, especially when your government is owned by corporations. I grow my veggies and dry them for storage. That's another thing, Linda. Grow them and dry them. Learn how to use essential oils. Pretty much everything can make an essential oil. That's one of the things I'm on right now, Linda, is I grow spearmint every year. At the end of every year, I throw a lot of it away. I dry some of it this year, but I always have way too much. And I didn't realize that this much spearmint oil, which can be used for everything, costs like $8,000 at Bed Bath & Beyond. It's insanity. So I'm drying spearmint this year. And I gotta step up my canning. I gotta do better. I had some canning fails. I have to learn how to can. They stole mine with bankruptcy and laws. Yeah, well, the banks are always taking back properties. The banks are always doing what banks do. That's what they're gonna do in Venezuela. They're going down there to rob people. So if you're still cheering colonization and New World Order and globalism and neoliberalism and neoconism and did I say neoconism? I know. Neoconism. If you're still supporting this system of go kill people, blow up their cities, and steal their resources, we don't get to make it. We don't get to make it. All right, so anyway, I get it going. This is Gerard. Anybody got a last comment? Last comment? Anybody got a last thing to send us off on? Let me see. Arrest, stop, break their machine, save our system. Ooh, I'm gonna stop on Jack. Arrest, stop, break their machine. Break their machine. I like the stop part. You gotta stop, stop. Break the machine, stop supporting it. And save our system. Our system being a part of a natural ecosystem, a planet. Things work well for 1 billion years, us all sharing the ecosystem. Let's go back to that. That's not socialism. Difference between sharing the ecosystem and taking everything in the ecosystem and giving it to a government in a socialist model and doing the same damn thing with private citizens. Nature doesn't need your ownership, and nature's not gonna stand for your ownership anyway. So anyway, this is Gerard. I gotta get going. Y'all have a great day. Love y'all to death. Stop being colonized and stop supporting colonization. I'm out.